ちょっと黙ってね。The auditorium is empty, single piece of furniture. It didn't have to read a long lantern though. I'm not particular about it. His 60-year-old cousin hated a piece of real estate by a lake. So much for small talk. Let's get down to business. Lucy resented the aggressive salesman trying to make her sign the contract. The manufacturer discouraged us investing in stocks. Japan imports various raw materials and exports manufactured goods. In the course of its economic development, Japan has abandoned its traditional values. The world is faced with an unprecedented crisis. In short, the purpose of regulation is to protect domestic industries. In order to keep up with competition in the world, Japan must undertake sweeping deregulation in earnest. We cannot turn our backs on desperate people who are at risk. The parliament decided to provide developing countries with financial aid. Some say the British monarchy should be abolished. What do you think? They sought the shelter from the attack, but found no place to hide. There are no prospect that the two countries will make significant progress in disarmament. The negotiations are underway. Before long, they will enter a crucial phase. The slaves are anxious to alter their destinies. The aristocrats abuse their privileges into the heart's content. The revolution itself bore no fruit, after all. Bob cut our conversation saying, I'm against it, but everybody ignored him. We skipped his turn on purpose. He thought of someone being bullied, but he turned a blind eye. When Nikolai cheated on exam, I was suspended from school. Ironic, he got away with it. They are hostile to Richard because they are jealous of his wealth and status. I hate him. He behaves as if he was somebody. In spite of our compliments, he frowned and turned away. He was so rude. He claimed that enormous property was at his disposal. The more stubborn you are, the more isolated you become. Don't beat around the bush. What am I supposed to do? Just wait and see. Time will tell. Please hand assignment via email no later than 5 p.m. on June 10th. Joe is anything but diligent. That's why he flunked math again. His thesis doesn't make sense. To begin with, his theme is obscure. His essay was concise and to the point. How are you going to deal with this complicated problem? Leave it to me. It's a piece of cake. Nick, I want to look this over before I turn it in. Sorry, but I have a handful right now. What about the meet of the deadline? I beg he'll get mad at you. Your summary leaves nothing to be desired, apart from a terrible handwriting. You ought to think over whether the premise is valid or not. Above all, scientific terms call for precise definitions. First of all, learn the formula by heart. To calculate the volume, multiply the length by the width by the depth. Tiny cracks were found in the bottom of the barrel. This chapter will focus on the concept of geometry. Phil is much more interested in academic subjects than practical skills. Something is gone wrong with the microscope. I need to have it repaired. Let me see it. Maybe I can fix it. What is an instrument? For instance, a gauge, such as the thermometer or barometer. The minute particles are barely visible to the naked eye. Muscle tissue consists of the vast number of cells. This substance is mostly composed of hydrogen and oxygen. The exact temperature is 22.68 degrees Celsius. Naomi likes to show off her perfect figure. I was thin like her. I envy her. You could go a diet. I fell in love with at first sight. 3 months later, I took a chance to propose to her, but she turned me down. I met by chance. He's gentle and smart. What's more, he's single. His nephew was brought up to be modest and considerate. I introduced Bob to my folks, but they took to him at once. People should be judged not by how they look, as by who they are. It's not your title that counts, that's for sure, exclaimed Bob. As the ceremonial put it, a man of vision will make good Indian. Keep in mind, the youth is not eternal. I can't figure out why on earth everybody feels so much contempt for Bob. I can't help laughing at him because he keeps on stupid mistakes. He'll be the last person to learn his lesson. To make matters worse, he isn't conscious of annoying us. Since I was in a hurry, I put my gloves on inside out by mistake. Dave is fat and clumsy. When he leaped over the shallow stream, he stumbled and twisted his ankle. I'm scared of heights. You're a coward. The Tasman seldom, if ever, expresses himself in public. Nick convinced me the overall superstition is rational. I trembled with fear at the thought of the injection. Since Bob is lazy at heart, he frequently neglected his duties. While Bob was at work, Jennifer was absorbed in silly soap operas. Bob likes cartoons, but I don't think much of them. As a matter of fact, they are boring. It occurred to me that he was holding something back because he wouldn't look me in the eye. When her patience gave out, she grabbed his collar and swore at him. I must admit, we quarrel every now and then, but generally, we are on good terms with each other. Do you mind if I stop at your house? No, not at all. Be my guest. Hold on, I'll be right back. Don't hang up. I can't put up. For one thing, my dad drops on me from time to time. While Jennifer was standing still, but was facing button posts along the sidewalk. Let's make up this stop taking for granted. We were through for good this time. I mean it. Come on, don't get so emotional, Lisa. I didn't mean to hurt you. Let's talk it over. You betrayed me. Please forgive me. How can I make it up to you? I'll get even. You should confess your sins rather than conceal them. Keep your word, otherwise you'll end up losing faith. Bob sticks with moral principles and believes that honesty pays off in the long run. Cheer up! You couldn't help it. I did my best. I know. Don't dwell on the past. You can start over. Jane, please do me a favor and give me a ride to Times Square. I wish I could, but I'm tied up right now. As usual, Mike turned up on time. He's very punctual. The other day around the gasp in the middle of a busy interstate. A truck driving ahead of me skidded, turned over, and scattered its load all over the road. He recalled that collision have been avoided by a sheer luck. In case of emergency, get in touch with my agent right away. Jane, where are heading? I think we are lost. We went in the wrong direction. Damn. Pull over. My rusty board broke down and obstructing the intersection. There are so many fine scratches and dents on its surface. It's no use polishing it. Hey, we are stuck in a traffic jam. Chill out, Joe. Let's take a shortcut. We'll get there in time. I forgot the flat tire. Can you give me a hand? I'd be glad to. The ambulance went out of control and came close running over a pedestrian. He contended primitive life once existed on Mars. The crew is busy preparing for the voyage into outer space. They conducted a series of experiments on the zero gravity. Many astronomers assume the universe will expand infinitely. The astronauts were greeted with spontaneous applause. Our part of the setup is beautifully preserving our endangered planet. The massive flood paralyzed the local transportation network. The equator divides the globe into two hemispheres. I think it's cool to trap animals for fur coats. The organization plays a principal role in wildlife conservation. Many protected species are on the verge of extinction. The prolonged drought did severe damage to the crops. Tropical rainforests are quickly disappearing on the global scale. In part, it's due to acid rain. It is said that all global warming is directly related to carbon dioxide emissions. The destruction of the ozone layer affects the environment. The committee called on all of the nations to work side by side to curb air pollution. A satellite was launched into orbit to monitor melting glaciers. 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 Time again. El petróleo no